Hey there, welcome back to Am I Tesla Guy? All things Tesla from an everyday guy in Michigan. I have officially owned Lightning, my Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, for 1 year. Happy birthday to Lightning. I thought, what better time to review the car itself than at the 1 year mark? Now, if you're curious about costs and expenses and all those things, I already did a video on that, and you can find that in the link in the corner up there, and I will also put a link to that in the description of this video down below. This video is going to focus on the car itself. My likes, my dislikes, pros, cons, quality, driving, you name it. I'm attempting to cover the car itself in this video. And I'll tell you, I think some of what I say and some of my opinions might actually surprise you. All right, and I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I absolutely love having and driving this car. Overall, it is the best car I have ever owned, and I would say it's probably the best car I've ever driven as a full package. Now, I've driven vehicles that from a pure performance standpoint or a pure comfort standpoint would beat out the Tesla, for sure. But when it comes to the entire package, I can't think of something that I've ever enjoyed more. Now, I don't anticipate this review covering every little nitpicky thing about the car over the first year of ownership, but I do want to cover the general positives, negatives, my experience, and hopefully answer some of the common questions that I am asked about it. And I'm actually going to mix it up because I'm going to start with talking about the negatives. I think the place you start when you talk about negatives, quality. It is something that I hear a lot when I'm looking at forums or Facebook posts or anything like that. And I think anytime that you are looking at those kind of posts, you will instantly have the following phrases added to your vocabulary. Panel gaps and soft paint, because they come up all the time. I think with quality, like so many other things, it's a little bit in the eye of the beholder. I personally do feel like Tesla gets beat up a lot on their quality, and I think some of it is justifiable. I think they get scrutinized much more than many other car manufacturers, at least in my experience, what I see. And again, I'm not saying that I don't think there are quality issues. I just think that they get scrutinized more than other manufacturers. If you're going to scrutinize one product on this particular thing, then you should be willing to scrutinize another product on that same thing and call it out. But too often we get focused on the things that we like, and it keeps us from being able to look at things objectively. So I do my best to try to look at things objectively when I'm talking about a review of my car. And I am curious to know, am I off base on that? I'd love it if you drop me a comment down below. So with my quality issues, let's start with some of this vocabulary. Let's start with panel gaps. Now, I'm going to show you here some examples of the panel gaps on my car. Overall, I personally don't think they're all that bad. I do think you can definitely see where the gap sometimes narrows and sometimes it's wider. And sure, some parts are more noticeable than others. But I think when you step back, most of them are pretty hard to notice unless you're really looking for them. And I think it's only fair to actually, let's compare it to another car. So the only other car I can compare it to conveniently would be the other car that we own, which is a 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. So you can see that the panels don't really have the same gap on different doors and as you move up and down the doors and things like that. So not too different than what you would see with the Tesla. Now, my guess is somebody, or maybe many people who are watching this video are thinking, come on, Mike, you are comparing a Tesla to a Hyundai Santa Fe. Totally not even a fair comparison. The Tesla is a luxury vehicle. The Santa Fe is not. And I think to a certain point that is a fair comment. I think the market really has placed them there, if for no reason maybe other than cost. From a pure dollars and cents standpoint, our Hyundai Santa Fe cost right around $7,000 less than our Standard Range Plus Model 3 before taxes. So it's not like I'm comparing a $60,000 car to a $20,000 car. I'm not. These cars, from a pure cost standpoint, are much closer than I think most people would realize. You can tell me what you think in the comments down below. I have seen other Model 3s or Model Ys where the panel gaps are much worse than mine. I mean, to the point where they're binding, they're kind of rubbing on each other. But to be fair, I've actually seen some that are absolutely perfect. You will see worse examples and you will see better examples out there. The best I can do is be honest based on my experience. And then let's hit paint. I personally think the paint on my car is very good. Interestingly enough, I've never owned a white car before. I've never liked white cars. I didn't think they looked good. But the metallic, just the way it shines and the way it looks as you walk around it, I actually like it. And dare I say, I would probably get that same color again, even if it was one of the premium colors that you had to pay for. Now, I will say that I did have, not an issue with the Tesla paint, but I had an issue where I was rear-ended and had to have the bumper replaced and repainted, and there was an issue with matching the color with the Tesla certified body shop. That was not Tesla's fault. And actually, I did a video on that. If you're interested in seeing it, I will link to it in the description. Now, I will, again, be fair and honest, and that is I have seen examples where the paint's off. It's just off. And I think the bigger question to me in that case is, how on earth did that thing not only get out of the factory, get shipped to a delivery location, but actually be looked at and then given to a customer? So I have seen bad examples, but overall, I've been quite impressed with the paint on our car and on other Teslas that I've seen. Now, how about repairs? Has anything gone wrong with the car? Have I had any issues and had to have any repairs done? Oh yeah, I have. In the first year of ownership, I actually have not had to take the car to a service center at all. I've actually been able to use the mobile service for everything that's needed to be done on my car. And I gotta tell you, that mobile service is awesome. Everything that has been done to my car has been done in the parking lot at my office or in my driveway at home. And I give kudos to the mobile techs who've come out. They have all been very, very nice and very professional and did a great job, made sure I was comfortable with the car and anything that they fixed before they left. So I gotta give a big thumbs up to all the mobile techs out there. So as far as those repairs go, here is a list of what I had done in the first year. Part of the molding around the rear passenger door frame was bulging out, so they replaced the molding. The back driver side door trim was loose and it squeaked when I drove. There was also a rattle in the passenger side rear door over pretty much every bump. That was annoying. They applied a special kind of tape and some sound deadening material, and that fixed it. The passenger side front door handle stuck out just a little bit from the car. It wasn't flush, and they replaced the door handle, and that was fine. The trunk appeared to be ever so slightly out of alignment. I do have a pretty keen eye for that, so I was a little picky. The tech did confirm that it was out of alignment by about a millimeter. He was actually a bit surprised that I caught it, and he adjusted it and it was all good. And then the most recent one, there was a small piece of rubber molding at the top corner of the passenger rear door that was kind of tearing off. Rather than replace it, which would actually have messed up my chrome delete that I had put on my car, and I thank the tech for catching that and pointing that out. So instead of actually replacing it, they used a really strong adhesive glue and were able to just glue it back down. So as you can see, I mean, I definitely had some issues that had to be rectified. I don't think any of them were really major, at least not in my mind. In fact, I would say other than maybe the first molding issue and the door handle thing, I probably wouldn't even have taken it into a service center for everything except for those two items. But I figure it's under warranty and they've got mobile service, so why not? So I had them come out and fix it. And then the final negative I want to point out, this one may be the most specific to me and a select few other people, and that is the seating position. You're really low in the car. The seat is not very high up off the floor, and it's a sedan, so I expect it. But in the Model 3, it's pretty close to the floor. So you end up with either having your legs kind of stretched out in front of you, or you get your knees, kind of way up if you put your feet closer to you. And for some reason, especially like on longer road trips, it actually causes kind of a pain in my left hip area. Now, I'm getting older and I know that. More pain will be in my future, but I don't really have this in our Santa Fe, for example, where, I'm kind of sitting up and my legs kind of just rest down instead of out or up. So what I do if I'm driving for more than 20 or 30 minutes, I'll just kind of change how I sit and do things like that, which is really, really easy with autopilot. I just wanted to point that out because that may be something that matters to you or matters to somebody you know. Now, I will say I have actually driven another car that did that too. I used to own a Honda Civic, and that one also had the seat really close to the floor, and I had the exact same issue with that one. So that wraps up the negatives that really stick out to me or that I get asked about a lot. So we are now going to move in to the positives. All right, so let's talk about the positives. And my apologies for the poor lighting on this section of the video. I got to work with what I got right now, and this is what I got. The first thing I got to start with is the driving experience. Driving this thing is absolutely incredible. And I'll tell you, one of the things I want to hit on first when it comes to the driving experience is actually regenerative braking. Now, I did not necessarily like this at the beginning. I think that was mostly because I was not used to it. I've never experienced anything like it where I let off the accelerator and my car starts slowing down, and quite aggressively if you have it on the high setting. But now that I've become used to it, I absolutely love it. It is not uncommon for me to go several days without ever using the brake pedal on my car. So I can only imagine how long the brakes are going to last on this thing. And the regen braking, I actually do like to play a little game. Drop me a comment down below if you play this same game. I play the, ooh, I wonder if I can let off the accelerator or cancel cruise control at just the right time that I will coast right up to that stop sign or stop light and stop right where I'm supposed to. I'm getting pretty good at it too. I'm getting pretty good at it. The other thing I like is smooth acceleration. It probably seems obvious, like I shouldn't even have to mention it, but the acceleration in our car seems to be more like linear, right? You don't have a transmission, so there's no shifting, there's no revving up and coming down or anything like that. So that is very interesting, is the best way I could say it. My wife likes to say, oh my goodness, your car likes to go fast. And what she means by that is that she'll press the accelerator at about where she would in our gas car, but it goes a whole lot faster. I do enjoy that. It's just such a smooth acceleration ride. All right, next on the driving experience is handling. As you might imagine, you've got a really heavy battery pack at the bottom of the vehicle, and with that low center of gravity, it handles really, really nice. And then finally, my absolute favorite part of driving our car, and that is autopilot. I don't think I can ever go back to a vehicle without autopilot. Now, we did add the full self-driving package after we purchased it, but even just the base autopilot, especially on the highway, man, oh man, that is something special. To not have to use your brain power to focus on keeping your vehicle in the center of the lane. It sounds really minor, so just watching a video like this on it is not going to do it justice. You've got to experience it. On road trips, I am more relaxed when I get there. I don't feel as worn out, and at least in my opinion, I attribute that to autopilot because it's just a more relaxed drive. I don't do stupid things that I shouldn't be doing, like watching YouTube videos while I'm trying to drive or some of these crazy things you see people put on YouTube. But just the idea of, hey, I don't have to worry about staying in my lane. This car does an amazing job at doing that. So, you know, I'm going to actually be more observant and look around and see what's going on and watch other cars and things like that. So autopilot, by far my favorite feature of my car. All right, another big positive for our car would be the continual improvements. We bought the car end of June 2020, and the one-year review would be end of June 2021, and it has had features added to it. It's had existing features improve. It's had all sorts of things. So I went back and I tried to look through my records and look through the various release notes for the various versions of the software. Here is a list of what I was able to track down on what has happened over the past year. They added traffic sign recognition, and what that is it means it reads the speed limit signs and will adjust the cruise speed and all of that automatically for you. I actually did a video on that, which I've linked to in the description below. It added traffic light and stop sign control. That is actually only for the full self-driving package. If you have that I can turn that feature on and my car will come to a stop at stop signs and red lights all on its own. And then I just press down on the stalk when it turns green and it will go. They improved the way that superchargers display. So when I first bought the car, you'd click on a supercharger on the in-car navigation and it would kind of pop up dots showing you how many stalls there were. Now they've moved to when you look at that supercharger, it'll have a number above it, and that number represents how much is free. And then you can click on the supercharger, will actually say 6 of 12 stalls in use or something like that. It seems minor, but just to be able to look and see how many are free and available is a real good improvement. They enacted a glove box pin, so now you can put a pin number in the system for your glove box so that nobody can get into your glove box without putting in the pin number. I would say that's an extra benefit for anybody who has a 2021 model or newer, where the USB input for the Tesla cam, the dash cam, and Sentry mode is in the glove box. So that gives you the ability to put your USB stick in there and then lock your glove box with a pin so somebody couldn't steal it or take that footage away. They added two-factor authentication. They made the boombox feature, so that was a new feature actually, where you can use the external speaker for, I want to say 2019 and newer models had the external speaker. I know mine has it. I actually did a video on that boombox feature because it was part of the holiday update in December of 2020. I will link to that in the description down below. That has more information about it. I'm not going to share it all here, but you are able to play sounds and songs and all sorts of things out of the external speaker. And yes, you can even make your car fart now on the outside of the car for all of the people around you to hear. And then they did add additional games. Some of them were Battle of Polytopia, Cat Quest, Solitaire. They added the Trax Music Composer, not really a game, but I added it in this list, and Fallout Shelter. And there are a lot of other pros about this car. The list is just so long. I tried to think of as much as I could, but then I just decided, man, I don't want this video to be a half an hour long. So I just narrowed it down to those two, the driving experience and then the features and improvements since I purchased it. And keep in mind, all those features and improvements were free. They were over-the-air updates. I update, hop in my car, I've got new stuff in my car and didn't have to pay anything for it. That's pretty cool. So now that we've talked about the negatives and the positives, I got one miscellaneous thing I want to cover, and that is battery degradation. So the idea of, you purchase this car, in our case, with a rated range of 250 miles. What do you get in the real world? I gotta admit, I didn't keep good records on that. Please don't hold it against me. But what I was able to do is, because I have a Teslafy account, and Teslafy keeps track of all my charges and everything like that, and it's able to do the math on what my range would be at a given time based on a charge, and then it extrapolates that out to a full charge. I took a look at that, and a full charge when I picked up the car actually showed on Teslafy as 248 miles of rated range. So within 2 miles of what it was supposed to be. And I looked it up the other day for what it was on June 27th, 2021, so exactly 1 year later, and it said it was 222 miles. So in case you're wondering, that would be about a 12% loss in battery usability, I guess is what I'll call it, assuming I'm doing the math correct. So another way of saying it is, I have 88% of the rated range that I used to have. Now, when you get into driving an electric vehicle, I assume it's all electric vehicles, but certainly a Tesla, I think you learn pretty quick, especially if you do road trips and things like that, that rated range is more of a guesstimate. And you find that a lot comes down to what is your driving style. If you like to floor it every chance you get, well, you're going to get less range. If you drive right at the speed limit and you don't drive on the highway a lot, you may very well get more range. I had it where we were actually stuck in traffic and we were going 45 miles an hour, and it was probably for a good, half an hour. And I looked at the energy graph in the car, which kind of gives you a real-time analysis, and it was putting my real-time range at 285 miles, so 35 miles more than the rated range when I purchased the car. So you learned that temperature would be another one. Is, if it's cold, you're going to get less range. If it's really, really hot, you're probably going to get less range. And if it's right in that sweet spot, you might get some more range. So you just learn to kind of look at those things. And I had one person suggest to me that I just change the information in the car on the screen to percent instead of miles as far as what it shows me on what's left of my battery. I've started doing that because the percentage is accurate. The miles, not necessarily. So if you want to see what you're really getting, if you're on a road trip or you're driving around, I recommend actually using the energy graph in the energy section of the menus. You can see how much you're consuming on average, and then you can go to the trip and it's gonna show you kind of a graph like this as far as both what it was predicting you would be getting at the miles that you've traveled and then what you're actually getting. So that gives you an idea on if you're being more efficient, less efficient, or spot on with what the car thought you would be doing. So there you have it. My thoughts on the first year of owning our Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus as far as the car goes. Again, if you have not seen the video I did on the cost side of things, make sure to click the link in the description down below, and then you can kind of watch both videos and get the overall picture of my thoughts on the first year of ownership. Now, I covered a lot between the two videos, but I'm sure I missed something. If you have any questions, or if you have anything you think I missed, or if I did the math wrong on anything, which is possible with me, why don't you drop me a comment down below, let me know. I'd love to chat with you all down there in the comments. If you got value out of this video, I would love it if you would click the thumbs up like button down below. And I believe the vast majority of people who watch these videos are not subscribers. So again, if you got any value out of the video, why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button? So I would love to hear from you in the comments, or you can drop me an email. My email address is in the description for this video. So thank you again for watching. It was great having you here with me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. My apologies. My dog was annoying the living daylights out of me, so I had to put him in another room. Shall we continue? My dog's going to be the end of me. He's going to be the end of me. Clearly, he does not want me to record.